So today we are here with DJ H.B. Monte. My name is Leah Skagiti, and I'm interviewing you today.
Hey,
How are you
appreciate it.
today?
I'm doing well.
Good.
How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good now that
Day's
I'm
going
here
good?
with you. Yeah,
Thank you.
getting to know you
Yes.
and everything.
We're gonna bring this energy. We're gonna bring this excitement, hopefully, to this interview because
Oh, yeah.
I can talk. We've already been, I can talk.
I can yap too.
Yeah, good,
Yeah.
perfect. So this is gonna be a good time.
Yeah,
This is
yeah,
gonna
we're
be a
gonna have
good
good.
time.
Yeah. So could you tell me a little bit about where you grew up and some of the social challenges you faced early in being a man of color?
Yeah.
Let's get into the nitty gritty of it.
Let's
all.
get into it. Let's get right into it. Why not? So for me, I grew up in a small state called Rhode Island. Love it. Smallest state in the United States. But the cool thing about that was just Rhode Island is full of different ethnicities and diversity, which is great. Growing up as a person of color, a minority, was interesting, right? Because within my own community, unfortunately, there's also some things where okay, maybe they called me, hey, you're too light enough to hang out with us. Even though this was my community, you're too light enough.
Oh.
And then when I would go and I played sports, I was a big fan of sports. I'd play every sport possible, but I was also one of the only minorities that would play hockey, ice hockey, where I grew up. And when you play ice hockey, they told me, hey, look, you're too dark enough. You're too dark to play this sport.
No
You should
way.
be playing basketball, football. So it's the cool thing though about that is that with every one of these little obstacles, or one may see it as an obstacle, I think that it made me the person I am because I grew up. If I didn't go through that, I would have never grew up to be the person I am. And I am
Right.
so open-minded when it comes to growing up. And I think that I'm still in this learning process of learning, and I always want to be that person. It allowed me to, one, know the person I am, and also to teach my daughter and maybe kids in the future that this is how we have to perceive life, not just narrow-minded, but being
Right.
open-minded. So I take it as a positive.
No, it's great that you had like completely shifted like the narrative, like making it into a positive thing. That's really a good
Absolutely.
mindset to take. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think we all should do that.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely gonna learn from you today. Trust
Hey,
me.
and I'm going to learn from you. Look, we learn
A
from each
little.
other.
So, what do you do for fun? Like any hobbies, sports? Like, do you like to cook or anything?
Yeah, so what I like to do is I like to crochet. I'm playing.
No, wait, I got excited because I
Did
like
you-
to crochet too.
I would like to learn. I'm not gonna lie. I'm open to it all, but I've never done. I just want it to be something just totally outrageous.
Yeah,
But you know what? Maybe you could teach me. We're just saying about learning. Maybe you could teach me a
To
thing or
be
two.
honest, I don't have much to teach you. I
Okay.
maybe crocheted like 2 times.
Did you?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie.
But I heard
do
it's
like to do
relaxing.
it. Yeah, it is.
I heard it's
It is.
relaxing.
Like
Yeah.
just play some lo-fi music, a
Right,
little bit
and
of
just-
like, just do your thing.
See,
You bang it out.
I think my crochet would more be like I would have to list it as a work of art because I knew it probably wouldn't end up as anything. And I'm totally honest, but I think I would like to try to attempt because I think that would be cool. You know what?
Yeah.
Maybe I might.
I think you should try it. Like
But,
just
yeah.
a little blanket or
Right?
something.
Some
Yeah.
little napkin or a handkerchief
Exactly.
or something small. It's gotta be
Exactly.
small. But yeah, so as far as like just fun wise, what I like to do is I'll go work out. I love working out because I feel like I'll start thinking, start coming up with some ideas and creative ideas. I also like, for me, I'll also I enjoy just I also enjoy just sitting back and coming up with like song ideas, song concepts, and that kind of stuff. I mean, as far as other stuff, I do have plans eventually to learn how to be a better cook. I would like to do that. That's one of my plans. I'm not the absolute worst cook on the planet, but I'm not the absolute best either.
Yeah.
So I want to work on doing that because I know that could be relaxing and enjoying enjoying the fruits of the labor when you finish your whole cooking masterpiece. I would like to get to that point where I'm like, you see, I did that. Right now, it's like, all right, yeah, that's cool, that's edible.
Yeah, it's okay. It's good enough.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, cooking and learning how to crochet. I would like to do that. Maybe you can teach me some.
I could
or
give you a
send me some-
recipe.
yeah. Or send me some YouTube links or some TikTok, videos.
I
that
do
you see,
get my cooking off of TikTok.
See?
I'm not gonna lie.
Perfect, yeah.
I made some baked chicken the other day.
On
Completely
point?
TikTok inspired.
Hey,
Yep.
look
it's
at
true.
that. That's cool.
All right. So our next question. Now that we're already talking about food.
Yeah.
What was your go-to meal and snack as a kid?
Oh, my go-to meal and snack as a kid. So as a kid, I was a big fan of buñuelos, right? And it's these bread, basically these like round bread rolls. And that was my like go-to snack. I would have that with manzana, which is like this apple soda.
Ooh.
Oh my gosh, that was my go-to snack. I was like I would come home from school, my father would have that ready. My mom would be like, okay, you know what? He needs some more. Let's get him some more. So that was like my go-to. That and then like Little Debbie snacks.
Debbie
who
snacks,
doesn't
really?
like Little Debbie snacks? You don't? Yeah, you don't like?
No.
As a kid, you didn't like those?
Not really.
Oh my gosh, I used to love those. I think maybe like I think the more sugar in the snacks, the better it was that I enjoyed, or the more I enjoyed it as a kid.
Really?
As a kid, that was Oh my gosh, you never had those trees?
I'm
You
not
ever seen
gonna
those?
lie. The only reason why I don't really like them is I brought them for like a class party or something, and I wanted to try one.
Yeah.
And by the time I got back to my own snack, it was gone.
Oh,
So I
they
never.
snatched it.
Yeah.
That's how good it was. You see that?
Yeah, they were.
snatched it from you.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
my go-to. I remember they had these like Christmas trees. You ever see what I'm talking about? The
Yes.
Little Debbie Christmas
Yes.
tree? Oh my gosh,
I
those things
do.
right there were like everything to me.
They were
But
a top
anyways,
hit.
yeah, they were a big hit. They were a big hit with me.
What were your biggest obstacles before music and entertainment?
So this is actually a longer answer to your question. I'll go back a little bit. So before I was born, actually when I was in my mom's womb, at that point, I think adversity was a part of me, right? Because my mom almost drowned with me in Aruba with my father. She had swam out a little bit too far out in the ocean. She's back floating, and the minute she started realizing she was so far away from shore, she started freaking out, and my father ended up swimming out and rescuing her. And then fast forward a little bit, growing up, I had a whole bunch of developmental issues growing up, problems with my foot, my feet, there was so many issues that arose, but yet I was, my mom and my father were still able to be kind of optimistic and give me a great childhood. And at the time of being a teenager, I had back surgery, which I didn't realize how severe this back surgery was because I had to relearn how to walk again. And to this day, I still have this. I have a rod in my back. I have 6 hooks on my back. I feel like a machine at sometimes. But they told me, I was big into sports as a kid, but they told me that I possibly couldn't play any more sports. I definitely couldn't play any more contact sports. So from then on, I had to decide what I really wanted to do in life. As a teenager, you never think that you'd have to decide right then and there, because I grew up with the hopes of being a superstar in sports. That's every child's, at least growing up. It's what I thought every child's dream was. And then I found the love of music because I didn't have to get up or be super active. I just found that I could actually, do music, record music, and not have to do so much physical exertion. Is that the word I'm looking for? Yeah,
Yes.
physical exertion. I fell in love with music, and at that point I realized that with every obstacle in life, if I can overcome what I overcame already, I know that these things, these little hurdles are nothing compared to that. And I have that mind state still to this day of just kind of just persevering through anything. And I know obstacles will come, but I guess for me it's growing through those obstacles that make me who I am.
Yeah, I think that's really inspiring, hearing that story, and I think that's going to inspire a lot of other people, especially on our campus. It's really important to hear a voice such as yours, especially like a person of color coming
Yeah.
here today, like
Yes.
talking
Thank
about
you.
your beginning. Of
Thank
course,
you.
yeah. Who did you look up to growing up from both your immediate family and outside influences?
So, so growing up, I always wanted to. I always found myself kind of attracted to people who were doing things right, and who were doing things kind of in a good and positive way. I know I had some bad influences, but I also I had some great influences. One of my great influences growing up as a kid was a friend of mine, Paris, who he was older than me, at least I don't know, probably 12 years older than me, but he had his business. He had a successful business. He was also, a man of God, which was great because it was inspiring. Because I would always look up to him, and he'd be like the coolest guy on the street. And then next thing you know, he's like, "Hey man, let's pray." And I'm like, "Wow,
Yeah,
you know what?
that's
This
nice.
guy's grounded," and I love that.
Mhm.
And he was also involved with entertainment, and he would always have me a part of the things that he was doing. He had a clothing store, a hip hop clothing store, an urban clothing store rather, and he would always have me involved in some of these events and all of that. I owe him a lot because I feel like he also inspired me without even knowing he was inspiring me as a kid to do good, not only to do good, but also to be a good person. So I think he's one of my big influences growing up for sure. And I mean, of course, I had some, I always looked up to my mom for overcoming a lot of the hurdles that she overcame. But that's also something different, right? She overcame those life obstacles, right? And I think having her as a mentor within life, to overcome and prevail through her growing up. She grew up in this. Her parents came from an island called the Cape Verde Islands, which is on the coast of Senegal, off the coast of Senegal. And when they came with seven kids, and she had to grow up in the times of you know basically being told by other family members, you have to act white. You have to act white to fit in. And she's darker complexion than me. And this whole time she grew up, she thought she was white, so she was telling her friends, "Hey, I'm
Really?
Caucasian.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
Caucasian." And and until finally she realized, she was proud of her skin and the person she was, that she was able to say, "Hey, I'm who I am, whether you like me or not." And
Exactly.
she had to leave her house at 16 because she was pregnant, and they kicked her out of her house, and she had to overcome these life obstacles, which we can go on a whole
Yeah.
another lane and avenue with that. But she overcame a lot, which inspired me to know that, I mean, as I continue to grow, I know I'm going to continue to go through some obstacles, but if my mom did it, I could do it, right? And I feel like that was, huge, I guess, positive outlook in my life, having her, and then also having Paris as I was growing up, pursuing my goals and
Yeah.
dreams.
It's important to have like figures in your life that will set you on the right path. And they also
Very.
are incredibly inspiring too.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. So what was life like day to day?
So back then, day to day, it was that was fun. Like day to
Really?
day, yeah, right. As a kid, you didn't pay much bills.
Yeah.
You didn't
Yeah.
have these things of being an adult.
Yep.
So I think day to day, outside of the fact of all these obstacles that came across, I think it was some of my greatest times because I was able to find the passion of music, and being able to know that I was able to make people have fun and entertain people, that really kind of set me on the path that I am on now. So those day to days, I absolutely love it, and I would relive those every day if I had the opportunity to.
Oh yeah. Honestly, me too.
Right?
Childhood was it. I'll
Right.
say that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's just like now it's just okay. Let's
Right.
go back.
Let's
Let's take a step back.
right. And as a child, you're like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to be an adult. I can't wait to be
Yeah.
big. I can't wait to
Yep.
drive. I can't wait to do all these things. You know, but these, and even to this day too, I have to also check myself because even these days, you know, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years down the line from this day, we're going to look back and say, wow, I wish
Yeah.
I was, you know, back then
Yeah.
doing this. So I think it's important for us to live in the present
Exactly.
so much
Yeah.
because one day we're going to look back at this and say, wow, that was awesome. I wish I could relive that again, you know?
Yeah. I can say I'm always a day ahead of myself.
Yes.
I need to just be centered in the moment right now.
Love
So,
it.
yeah, that's my 2024 resolution, I think.
Let's go.
It's a
I
little
love
late,
it.
but I mean,
Hey.
let's try it now at this point.
Listen, it's just, you know, we could start our resolution tomorrow, today. I mean, people do it every 365 days. Why not do
Exactly.
it
Why not?
every day?
Exactly.
Right? Instead of new resolution.
Yeah. I like
Yeah.
that.
You're just ahead of the game.
Exactly.
People wait 365. You're like, hey, I'm going to wait one day, 24 hours.
Yeah, you can change any day you want, really.
Absolutely.
No one has to tell you
Absolutely.
otherwise.
Exactly.
All right. So, were there any other paths you were thinking about taking professionally, like college, trade school, anything like that?
Yeah, so so prior to music, you know, I wanted to. I was willing to go to the military. I wanted to do the
Really?
military. Yeah, go in the military. I don't, you know, I found something. You know, some of my family members were in the military, and I just thought that was kind of cool. Just kind of protecting our country, right? And I wanted to go to the military, but they wouldn't accept me because of my back,
Oh
right?
my
But so
gosh, yeah.
I so thank goodness, because obviously I probably wouldn't have been in this path.
Yeah.
And then also too, I also had aspirations to be a lawyer at some point, and I decided that you know, I'd rather be more in entertainment, and I just kept on that path and never
Yeah.
looked back. Rather, you know.
Things happen for a reason.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It really does.
So can you pinpoint a moment that you kind of just flipped the switch and you decided like following music was where you wanted to go?
So when I flipped the switch, I would have to say it was the time when I had that back surgery completely. Like, I decided, I said, you know what, I'm actually pretty good at this thing of music, right? Because I was doing music 24/7. And I said, I'm pretty good at this. I actually want to pursue this full time if I had the choice. And right after, I would say, high school, I said, you know, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this full time for sure, because it's what I love. It's what I'm passionate about. And you know, after, you know, obviously meeting with the counselors in high school, they would say, hey, you know, well, music is not something that you should do full time. It's not a career. And anytime I hear some sort of negative connotation or some sort of negative outlook, I always say, okay, that's just one perspective, right?
Yeah.
They're just telling me from their perspective how this can't be done. And whenever I hear that, I'm like, wow, I actually want to prove this now. Now you're giving me ammunition to prove this. Because for me, no just means to turn on, right? No backwards is on, right? So, all right, so now I'm on. Let's go. Now I'm going to do this, and I'm going to prove it. And the funny thing is that at that moment, I really decided to go full force. And one of my other teachers, which was one of my writing teachers, she said, hey, I have this brother who you need to meet. He's into music. Ooh. And, you know, at that point, I was like, oh, yeah, who's your brother? I'm like, all right, whatever. And so she connected me with this guy. His name was Tony Maserati. And if you look up this guy's name, this guy's got Grammys and awards galore.
No way.
I mean, I'm talking about Beyonce, Biggie. I mean, like, every artist, Mariah Carey, every artist that you can possibly think of, this guy's worked with. And, you know, from that point, he was, we talk about mentorship after that, or somebody kind of inspired me a little bit, was this guy. And, you know, he was just telling me, hey, just keep with it. You got something there. Keep on going. And later on, as I kept pursuing music, I was working with another artist named Chingy. I ended up reaching back out with him, and he was like, telling me basically how proud he is to see that I kept on pursuing this. And I still have that fire under me to this day that I keep on wanting to keep on growing and moving forward. But I'm thankful that I continue to pursue music at that point and kept on going on this path.
Yeah, I really like how you kind of just shifted everything that people were saying to you about not having music as your full-time thing. It's just like you said, nope, taking a whole nother route. Sorry.
Exactly.
Not even need to apologize either. It's just like that's what you wanted to do at the end of the day.
Yes.
Yeah. So when did you decide to take music or entertainment seriously?
So I decided to take the music or entertainment side seriously when I started making money off of it, right? I made, I think, a couple bucks from doing my high school events because they saw that I was DJing back then and I was making these mixtapes, and they were like, oh my gosh, yeah, we need to have you do these events. I'm like, wow, okay.
Yeah,
so my high school is paying me. I'm like, all right, cool. So I started making money off it. I'm like, wow, okay, I can actually do more of this, and I want to. And from then on, I was, I kept on pursuing it to look at other opportunities and see how I can constantly keep on making a living and surviving off of this.
Where did you go to record?
So this question is an interesting question, right? Because I recorded so many places throughout my whole entire career. But some of the best places were like these hole-in-walls. Like when I first started music, I would record in my mother's basement. And that's where everything started. I would love, it was just a basement. I had a turntable, a CD player, a trumpet, a broken chair, and like that was just all I had. And I was recording down there. And then as time moved forward, I was able to meet with other industry professionals, and I would record in bigger studios in New York, like Quad Studios, and then another awesome studio in Europe, in the Netherlands, with a buddy of mine named Big Dog. And so I was able to kind of travel around and record everywhere as I kept on growing within that field of entertainment.
So would you say that you sharpened your skills like exactly in the basement?
Yeah, I would say the basement was everything, right? Yeah,
the spot.
Exactly. I think there's a point in everyone's career where there's this bottom starting point, right? And then from there sets the path to everything else. And I think that when you still remember where you started from, it kind of puts this awesome, motivational or inspirational thought in your mind saying, hey, look, I know where I started, so I know where I'm going, right? And it kind of gives you a sense of direction and purpose. And for me, that bottom was in the basement. And I never forget it because I feel like if I never started there, I would never be where I'm at.
Yeah, that was the starting point of it all.
Exactly.
Yeah. So could you tell me about the first song you wrote? Was it in that basement too, or was it somewhere else?
No, the first song I wrote, believe it or not, was in the lunch table at an elementary school. Like,
really?
I love Twizzlers so much that I made a song about Twizzlers, and then I realized, okay, I'm like, people were loving this, and I'm like, oh, okay. So then I started getting into, I'm like, okay, maybe I could, this could be my way to talk to girls. And I'd be like, all right, let me write a song about a girl here.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, this would be cool. That didn't get me far, but it was still cool. Like, they were like, oh my God, he made this song about me. And I don't remember how the song went. I'm sure it was something like Roses are red, violets are blue, I love you. And I don't know.
Would you be able to release a Twizzler song?
I would love to. Matter of fact, I would love to release the Twizzler song, and I would just want to do that for maybe a commercial or something. That would be so
I mean,
cool.
that would be really cool.
Yeah, and I still love Twizzlers to this day. Like, Twizzlers
really?
is my go-to candy snack, for
Good
sure.
to know.
Are you a big fan of Twizzlers? No? No? Are you a chocolate? What do you like? You like chocolate?
Chocolate.
Or you like, okay.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
okay.
There it is.
Peanut butter cups or? What do you like?
Oh, I'm
Kit
a
Kats?
huge Reese's fan.
Reese's?
Yes.
Ooh,
Love Reese's.
I can't get mad at that though. I
I
do
know.
have my little chocolate. Like I love my Kit Kats. I love
Mm-hmm.
my. I do like Crunch bars.
Crunch. Oh, those
Yeah,
are really good too.
right,
Those
right.
are good.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, Twizzlers are like every day. I can have those every day. Chocolate I can't have every day because I mean I don't know what to do with myself.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, but Twizzlers my go-to.
Nice. So, what would you say your creative process was like?
So my creative process currently or previously?
We'll do previous and current at the same
Okay.
time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So previously, my creative process was, if I had an idea, I would write it down, and then I would work from there, right? And I would try to develop this idea. Now I'm a little bit more strategic. I would say I would have an idea, I would write it down, but not only would I write it down, but I would also start, if it's a melody of a beat, I would just hum the melody and make the melody and then record the melody and then try to imitate that melody with any instrumentation I felt that was needed for that, right? And then I'll lay down the beat, I'll structure the beat, and then I'll write the song, or you know, if I'm doing something DJ related, I'll start after I lay down the beat. I'll figure out what goes with what, how I can, you know, how I envision this project going, in which direction it goes, and then record it.
Nice.
And then that's basically the process I do in and out.
In and out.
You know, in a whole cycle.
Cool. It's nice to see how different like artists and like singers like kind of do their own process, because I know it's kind of different for everyone.
It really is, and it's I think it's no different than, you know, for school, right? Like,
Yeah.
you know, all right, cool, you know, you have this assignment to do, and then, you know, okay, how do I do this? Well, okay, first let me get out the books, let me get this out, let me research this, I got to do this, you know. So but it's steps, and every step leads to the end goal, right? So
So I know you had a few mentors like in the beginnings. Did you have any others that were like during the makings of your career?
So yeah, I think at some point, everyone that I met in the industry kind of inspired me a lot. You know, so like, you know, just meeting certain people, and to this day, even meeting, you know, people like in AGT, meeting Terry Crews, right? I know his story and what he overcame, but just to see him in person and to converse with him and to actually have, you know, him kind of talk to me, and also it inspires me every time he says a word. So he could say, "Hey man, how you doing? Hey man, oh that's great, you're awesome." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, Terry Crews told me I'm awesome. He told me, oh my gosh, he told me this. He said, hey, how you doing?"
Yeah.
I'm like, because I just know that his story and where he came from, also overcoming obstacles, he's where he's at, and I admire him for it, and it inspires me. But you know, it's other people too, meeting other people, hearing other people's stories throughout my journey. I mean, another artist who I got a chance to really be around, his name was Prodigy. He worked with this rap group called Mobb Deep, and one of my, I would consider him a friend. I still do. I mean, God rest his soul, he passed away, but I remember just him encouraging me and inspiring me, and also knowledge, giving me the knowledge of not only entertainment but just life. You know, and I was there with him, you know, at times when he was in the hospital, and he dealt with sickle cell, and being around, he would just inspire me and encourage me in so many ways, I think more than he even knew. And just, you know, again, meeting other people in this industry and hearing their story and having them kind of inspire me. I love that. I'm a people person, so
Yeah.
I think we can all get something from each other,
Right.
and learn from each other. So
Exactly.
I feel like for me, I'm forever a student. I always want to learn something. You
Yeah,
know?
always learning.
Exactly, and I'm gonna learn crocheting from you.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah, you know.
I have
Or
a-
some TikTok, you know, cooking recipes.
Yeah, that could work. I have a little bit of a side note question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is Terry Crews really tall?
Oh, yes,
Is he like?
he is tall. He's definitely tall for
Okay.
sure. And also too, he's probably one of the coolest dudes that, like, he steps into a room and everybody knows and everyone loves him. Everyone knows that it's going to be a fun time. Everyone knows, everyone's all smiles from ear to ear
Yeah.
because he's like, hey,
Oh my
what's up,
gosh.
man? And he's all smiles. He's full of energy. I love that. He's that, how you see him literally on TV is it's who he is outside
Oh,
of the
that's
screens,
so
which is
cool.
amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, I know Mike will vouch for that for sure too as well.
So, are there any setbacks that you have experienced throughout time? Like, tell me a time that you had a setback.
Setback. Okay, yeah. I mean, setbacks.
Yeah.
That's a big one because for me, I felt was one of my ultimate setbacks was I had a heart issue. I had heart failure, right? So a little while back, I had a hard time breathing and going to the gym and doing these things that I was so really passionate about and that was the things that I like to do for fun, as I mentioned before. And I was having trouble breathing, and I didn't think nothing of it. I just felt like, okay, maybe it might be COVID, so maybe let me go get tested. And sure enough, I went to the doctors, and being the happy-go-lucky person that I am, they were like, "Sir, we need you to calm down." Because when I go and meet everybody, I'm like,
You're
I'm
excited,
talking, I'm
yeah.
excited. I'm like, "Hey, what's going on?" And all this, and they're like, "No, sir, we need you to calm down, and we're gonna rush you to the hospital." And they put all this stuff on me, EKG, and they really didn't tell me much until when I was in the hospital when I found out that my heart was at an unnormal rate, and I then was at the point where I was kind of blacking out.
Oh my God.
And then I woke up in the intensive care unit. I just remember asking for, here's the funny thing, I remember asking for a Caesar salad, and that's the last thing I remember because I was hungry at the time.
Oh,
And then
wow.
I end up just in the intensive care unit, and the cardiologist comes and tells me, he said, hey, I just want you to know, he said, you got to thank whoever's looking out for you. He said, because there was a chance that you possibly couldn't have made it through this. He said, you were going through serious, severe heart failure, and to put it short, the way how they measure your heart functioning is through a process where they basically measure how much blood your heart produces per each heartbeat, and anything less than 40%, you're at risk of cardiac arrest or sudden death. That's 40%. The lowest of the bottom is 5% because 0 means you're not here.
Yeah.
So I was at 5, and they, at that point I realized, I'm like, oh, okay, well, reality hit me. You talk about a setback. I realized I said to myself, I'm not going to be able to do the things that I wanted to do. I'm not going to be able to love the way how I wanted to love, like my daughter and raising up my daughter, my family, and all these things were coming to my mind. I felt like there was so much more for me to do, and I felt like I'm now at this huge setback. And the doctor said, well, let's not worry about all these issues. Let's worry about getting better. And at that time, when your heart fails, all the major organs fail. So my kidneys were failing, my liver was failing, all these other major organs were failing. And I said to myself, I said, well, if I make it out of this, I'm going to change this whole dynamic of this setback, and I'm going to turn this into a life comeback, and that's what I'm doing now.
Wow. That was a very inspiring story.
Thank
I feel that, I'm sorry that happened
Thank
to you.
you. It's how we're able to talk now because I am so that's that fire that's under me now because I do got a second chance and I'm not going to leave nothing on the table. I'm planning to go all out because I know that this is bonus time for me.
Yeah. That's amazing. I love how I feel like every single story you've told me so far is just you spin the narrative completely, like it's become such a positive thing, and I think that's really beautiful. It's a really good mindset to have.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Thank you so
All right. Was there ever a time that self-doubt sparked quitting, and how did you handle that?
So with self-doubt, I think that for me, I think we all have these moments of self-doubt. But for me, I don't want it to live in me, because I feel like the more it lives in me, the more it will eat me up, right? Like cancer in a way. And I anytime I have this moment of self-doubt, I always reassure myself of the value of what I bring and what I do and how far I've come, to know that it's just my mind right now telling me that I need to pursue it even more. So I with self-doubt, I try not to let it live in me too long, because it could literally hurt us in the long run.
Yeah.
And so that for me is, self-doubt is not allowed. It's a do not enter for
Do
self-doubt.
not answer for self-doubt.
Exactly.
I like that.
Yes.
Yeah. I think I should practice that too. I'm not
Yes.
going to lie.
I think we all should, right? I think because we all constantly get tested, especially now in
Exactly.
society where, where we see things and we envision, oh, okay, you know what, how come I'm not there? Or how come I'm not doing this? How come I'm not? And the more we live in this realm, we start comparing other people to us. So I feel like, that can bring in self-doubt. But if we have that do not enter sign, that barricade, it's not going to come in. I know what I'm capable of doing. I'm capable of doing anything I put my mind into, and I'm going to do it.
Exactly. Yeah. So what was your first paid gig, and what was that experience like?
So my first paid gig was actually at my high school. They noticed that I was DJing, or they heard that I was DJing, and all the other students were talking about it, and so they said that they wanted me to DJ it, and they paid me to do the gigs. And after I did one gig, they wanted me to do more gigs, and then I kept on doing it and doing it and doing it,
Yeah.
and then and then to the point where I after I graduated, they still wanted me to do it, and I had to turn them down because I ended up moving around so much at that time. But it was so cool because that really opened the doors for me to pursue this
Right.
full time.
Could you tell me about a favorite experience, a favorite performance?
Yeah. So, wow. Okay, that's a good one, because a favorite performance.
Yeah.
I think I have many, but
Ooh.
I would say a really memorable performance for me was, and I didn't even get that much shine, but for me it blew my mind. Was me opening up and doing this show for Fabulous, rapper named Fabulous.
Really?
So and this is when he was first coming out, and it was just really cool because for me it was just all these people were there, and I'm like, wow, this is actually pretty awesome. And then getting a chance to hang out afterwards and be in the mix, and then see his career take off. From that point, and then also later on was Ludacris, doing some things with Ludacris, and doing and opening up these little spots on his for his show, and it was just awesome.
Yeah.
And funny part about that was later on, I didn't realize I was going to be working with some of his artists. It was kind of cool how everything kind of came full circle at that moment, but.
That is really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. You also mentioned that, you were in high school doing gigs. How did you get your name out, like, to locals, like, to the community as a whole?
Yeah. So when I was doing those at high school, I was putting out these mixtapes, and at that time I was able to kind of go to different stores. They had these record shops that were big at the time. And then I would start linking up with some of the local radio stations, and then the local radio stations would give me spots, which was really cool. So I would go in and start mixing for for two different radio stations, which was cool.
Wow,
So we had
nice.
one. There was one college station, and there was one, commercial top 40 urban rhythmic station. And they would give me like little spot days to go and do my mixing. And then once I started getting on there, everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, that was awesome! We heard you on this radio station. This was really cool." And so it kind of it sparked more curiosity and opportunity at that point for me. And it kind of also made me keep on pursuing more other opportunities and avenues within music.
Yeah. So talking about opportunities, as a man of color, were there any opportunities that were taken away or not offered because of, like, your race, ethnicity?
Yeah. So If there was opportunities that got taken away from me because of my skin complexion or my ethnicity, I you know what? I really, if there was, I guess I didn't look at it like that. I always saw myself of, again, knowing my worth, right? I know what I bring to the table. And if I ever got declined, which happens all the time, right? There's other opportunities where, where people are like, hey, you know what? We decided to go another route.
Right.
We decided to do something different. I look at it as it's a learning learning curve for me, right? Because maybe there's certain things that I could be doing better. I don't want to have a crutch, right? I don't want to have to lean on an excuse for me to say that, okay, I didn't get this because of that. Because when I start doing that, I start kind of lessening my ability as an entertainer or a performer, as a professional. And I just know what I bring to the table, and I know that I can also strive to be better. But I don't, just like self-doubt, I don't want that to live in me, because the minute that lives in me then becomes all these other negative connotations that come along with that. So for me, I guess I just decide not to look at that like that, and look at it as growing more and getting better as a person, as a person of color,
It's not to, reduce yourself to that negativity
Exactly.
either. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's good. Yeah. So, how did you sharpen your craft in times where you were, if anything, like financially difficult? Did that ever happen?
Oh, I think within music and entertainment, the crazy thing is, I think the average person looks at it as like, oh, okay, this is awesome. You know what? Oh my gosh, he's got all this jewelry on. He's got these fancy cars. He's got all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
And they don't realize the fact that, like, literally within music, you get quarterly payments, right? So within writing music, you get these quarterly payments, and every 3 months you might get a check. And same goes with even celebrities, right? Outside of endorsement deals and outside of just everything else, like an athlete, they get these quarterly checks. So they have to live off this sum of money, and have to know how to live off this sum of money for a long time. You might hear a athlete get, I don't know, $1.5 million. You're like, oh wow, that's great.
Yeah.
But if they start, getting into this whole lavish lifestyle of, jewelry and all this other stuff, and spending all this money, they can't pay their bills. So, and I say that to say that, knowing that where I came from the bottom, right, and pursuing this business, not making any money in the beginning when I started pursuing this business, I was able to say to myself, okay, when I start making money, I'm going to start saving up, and I'm going to start investing not only into this music, but investing into myself.
Yeah.
And I started having that as my goal, and it's still my goal to this day. And for everything that I make with music, I want to invest it back into growing, whether it's marketing, whether it's, other things that can help me, in the future. I want to invest that back. So, for me, I think that was learning that really kind of crafted, again, another mental development for me in this career of music and entertainment.
So throughout all your hardships and difficulties with becoming big, do you ever feel like quitting? Have you, like, why or why not?
So that's a great question, because, like, I think for me, I always say I didn't come this far to only come this far, right? Yeah. I came this far to keep on going further, and that mentality, I can't have quitting in my mind. So I need to continue this, because at the end of the day, when my story gets told, I want my story to be told, this guy never quit.
Yeah.
He persevered. He continued to follow his dreams no matter what. And I know this road is going to continue to get rocky. I know sometimes the road is going to get smooth, but I'm willing to keep on driving down this until the wheels fall off of this car.
Wow.
And for me, that's my mentality.
That's I've said this multiple times throughout the interview. Amazing mentality. It's very inspiring. It'll inspire a lot of students on this campus as well,
I hope
especially
so.
people of color too.
I hope so. I hope so because I think that there's so much talent. We all possess this talent and these capabilities, but a lot of times, like when these questions that we talk about, self-doubt sets in, not knowing your worth, not knowing your value. I think these important things of knowing ourselves is going to allow us to grow, to be better, and to pursue our goals and dreams with confidence. And I think that we need more of that. So I'm hoping that if anybody watching this, I hope that they at least take that with them and roll with that.
Okay, so let's talk about your entertainer era now. In the beginning of your career, rapping was more prevalent in your art. So what led to the fusion of DJing, producing, etc.?
So I think the fusion for me that led, so from rapping, it led to DJing because I love to, I consider myself an open format artist. And unfortunately, I don't think I have the capability. Well, let me not put that. We're talking about self-doubt. I want to put this in parentheses here, is that I don't feel that I naturally could do justice to country music, to rock, to these different genres. But what I can do is that I can mix these genres and make it fun and enjoyable the way how I like to do so, or the way how I think it's needed, right? So, for example, I can't rap a country or rock song, but I can mix and I can reproduce it into something that's fun and danceable for other people to enjoy.
Right.
And I think having that ability allowed me to then say, hey, you know what? I want to kind of play and kind of make this fusion of yes, artistry, but also with DJing and entertainment. So I think that inspired that move to continue doing that.
So who was the first major artist that you creatively worked with?
The first artist that I creatively worked with was Chingy, an artist named Chingy. He had a song called Holiday Inn, which a lot of people, it still gets played right now. So Chingy, and then that led to working with other people moving forward. So that aspect was really cool.
And I see that you're a girl dad. I think someone told me here.
Yes.
How do you balance between being a family man and performing?
So that's another avenue in my life that I'm still developing, right? Because I think, and I'm still growing with, because there's a lot of things that come about, right, when it comes to pursuing this career in entertainment. Because there'd be some times where, I'll come home super late at night, and then my daughter will wait for me and say, hey, Daddy, I miss you, I need you. And then I fall into this mode of, all right, you know what, you're right, we haven't had this time, let's spend this time, because I want to know about her day as much as I want to tell her about mine. And she's at the age where she'll listen and she wants to be a part of it. But I also want to set the standard for her to know, like, for every guy, for me, I feel, for every guy or any relationship that she gets into, whatever relationship she gets into, I want to set that standard of being present and being in the now, right? And to, one, know that, okay, she's worthy of love. She's a beautiful one. I want to instill these things of what I think she needs in the future, and so I want to continue to keep on doing that as much as possible. And the only way I know how to do that is by being there and showing her love and constantly reminding her how beautiful she is, how smart she is, and then also then showing her that also in life you have to have this balance, and there's work, there's goals, there's dreams. Yes, all three can go together. And family, can't forget family. All four can go together, but you just have to find time for it. And I think she sees that within me. She sees the whole journey. She knows about me being on AGT. Matter of fact, the funny thing is, some of her our friends talk about now, like going on my YouTube and watching some videos or listening to some music and watching some stuff on TikTok and all that stuff. I'm like, what? I'm like, it's cool. She's like, oh, and hearing that and hearing how proud she is to talk about me, it makes me feel so great and amazing. It makes me this warm feeling. So I say all that to say, girl dads, it's an awesome task, or not even task, it's an awesome role that I feel that I've been blessed with.
Would you ever consider being like on a project with your daughter or like anything like that?
Yeah, if she was up for it, I would love that.
Oh, that would
Absolutely,
be amazing.
I would love that. You know, here's the honest truth, right? So when I'm in girl dad mode, like there's nothing that I'm afraid to do. So what I mean by that is she can paint my nails, she puts makeup on my face, she dresses me up. And every time we play, I'm not afraid to go to Stewart's or go to the store and in this whatever I have on, you know, what she dressed me up on. And I love that. And she sees that, you know, there's, you know, nothing that I wouldn't do, you know, for her. But also too, saying that is like every Halloween she picks out a costume for me. And it's funny, last Halloween I was a baby. She wanted me in a baby. So there's this grown man as a baby walking down the street, and then you know, the prior year she wanted me to be a bumblebee, so I had this a tutu on, bumblebee tutu with these little ears, but so it's just so much fun for me because also she's able to see that I have no reservations when it comes to, you know, her having fun and to be a part of her childhood and growing up this way. So
that's amazing.
Yeah.
So many entertainers find it really hard to adapt to change and like how the industry has become. So how did you embrace the change that's coming now, and what do you do to ensure that you keep up with what's going on?
Yeah, so I constantly want to keep growing with these times, and I feel like the minute that I get to the point where I feel like I get content with what I'm doing is the minute where I stop growing. So I want to keep on pushing this envelope, and I know that it's going to continue to keep on growing and evolving. I mean, that's what life does in general. So I want to keep on pushing it, and I don't think I'll ever get to the point where I'll stop wanting to evolve. And if I ever do get to that point, I'm going to stop music entirely, because I feel like that's all I shouldn't be in the industry anymore.
Yeah, yeah. It's nice to change with the times.
Absolutely. I think it's needed, right?
Yeah.
Because if not, you might as well not do it.
Exactly. Yeah. Would you ever post any content on TikTok? Or do
So
you already
yeah,
ready?
I have been. I have.
Oh, tag yourself.
Yeah. At HB Monte, you know, definitely on social media. Look that up at HB Monte, HBMONTE. And I have been. I actually want to start growing that a little bit more. You know, and doing more music related stuff. You know, there's plans in the works that I have to start doing something more on a consistent basis within music. Right now on my TikToks, there's still some, obviously music's definitely incorporated, but then I also have my family life, fun things that I do with my daughter, fun things I do with my dog. I love my dog too as well, so we'll do certain things. Yeah, I have all that out there, but I want to definitely incorporate more music for sure.
Cool. So what sparked your interest in AGT, and what impact did it have on your life after the show aired?
Yeah, so with AGT, what sparked the interest for me with AGT was I had a friend. Oh, I still have a friend. I don't want to say I had a friend. I have a great friend of mine. His name is Dustin Davila. He ended up winning season 16 of America's Got Talent.
Oh, wow.
And you know, throughout his journey, I was able to be present and give little ideas here and there. He would run things by me. I thought it was just really cool that he would have me a part of this whole process. And you know, incorporating me in this whole process was really cool, because I was able to see all these things that he went through and all the whole process. And then after, when he won, I was able to also see the way how he affected and touched people in such a positive way. Like outside of AGT, when he would go do a show, he would go and then sit back and come chat with the audience and meet with the audience and talk with the audience members and inspire them and encourage them and pray with them. And I'm like, wow, this is so amazing. And knowing that he's doing what he loves and also inspiring and encouraging other people, I was like, oh, wow, I want to do this. I want to strive to do that, because that's, again, we talk about purpose, and that's part of my purpose, right? I'm here on a second chance, wanting to inspire and encourage others. So AGT was an avenue or platform for me to utilize and do that. And thankfully, the producers, loved and saw what I was doing, that they were able to put me on the show, which was so great because, you know, when we were there was so many great talent and people that were there auditioning with us, and those people made it past this stage of actually being there. And the process of AGT is an amazing process, but it's in stages, right? So obviously they start weeding out people as much as possible. But so whoever is there in the audition with you, you know that they have passed the same stages that you've passed.
Right.
And I'm talking about, like, it was like it's months of meeting and explaining and showing your talent to multiple people, and finally getting to the point where they're possibly going to air you. But there was no definite indication that you were going to get aired, right?
Right.
So it was so cool for the fact of them saying, hey, you know, we're going to air you, but because there was a lot of other people and talented people, we're talking about people who have millions of followers on social media that weren't aired. And to be one of those people that they aired and showcased was just really cool, and has opened the door for so many opportunities. So yeah, Dustin sparked that light in me for AGT, and I continue to roll through it, and I would do it again tomorrow if I had the opportunity.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. So if adolescent H.B. Monte were to write like a letter to feature H.B. Monte, what would be the context? Like, what would you write to your past self?
So the letter would be about perseverance, and it would read something like, you know, in life there's going to be ups and downs, like we all know, and as long as you continue to have fun growing up and developing and growing, you're on the right path. And I think having fun now is one of the things that I strive for. And I think if I were to always take life and not have fun during the downtimes, during the valleys, during the lows, I think that I wouldn't be who I am today, because I feel, and I would tell my adolescent self, that, you know, there's always good in every bad situation, because it just depends on how you see it. Your perspective is everything. And for me, looking at things, and you know, when bad happens, I know that I'm going to grow. And so I know that, okay, I'm in this situation now, but it's only temporary.
Right.
And I want to continue to keep on growing and developing. So perseverance would be one. And I would also mention to my younger self to say, hey, look, this road is going to have plenty of curves. It's going to have a lot of highs, and during the highs, you gotta always remember to stay grounded, because you know you have this opportunity, and it could be taken away at any minute. So always keep in mind that at the very least, this top of the mountain that you're at is only the bottom of the next mountain. So just keep that grounded level and work to another higher peak and keep on pushing forward.
So just to leave off with, do you want to tell Siena College's campus and students anything memorable to leave off?
Yes. So I'm going to talk to the camera on this, because, listen, if you are listening to me, I hope that you take this in mind, right? And pursue this and take it for what it's worth. It's my 4 C's, right? You have the choice to take the chance to commit to your goals to make a change. Now, those are my 4 C's. Now, if you follow that, I do feel like anything you do in life, you always have to make a choice, right? Whether you want to continue to do that or not. And it's a chance that, you know, it might possibly fail or it might work, right? But as long as you continue to commit to that goal, that dream, you are going to make a change. And if you're not committed to it, nothing's going to change. So I hope that you continue to inspire, chase your dreams, go for your dreams, and do it all. And I love y'all, and hopefully I'll see y'all soon.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to see you in your performance in March, right?
Yes.
Nice.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to it too. It's going to be fun.
I'm hoping to see you move and
We
tear
will.
up this dance floor.
We will be.
I like it.
Definitely.
Let's do it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.